Hey y'all, I'm back from my hiatus. Okay, so yes, y'all hear the ASMR for y'all. Basically, I kind of just wanted to come on here, but I forgot my notebook. I come to you in my home just to kind of like talk to y'all and yap. And this one is for my creatives here. So even if you're not a creative, you can still take this and to apply it to any aspect of your life, because honestly, in order to really truly embody the creative human being that you are, you do have to look within self and embody your spirit, if you know what I mean. First, right off bat, perfectionism. We all hate to say it. We all hate to say it. A lot of us are perfectionists. A lot of us creatives are perfectionists when it comes to our work. My first love in this life is dance. And I can say that perfectionism is something that honestly, from an early age, is honestly whipped onto us. And it's kind of hard to, how do I say, get out of that. It's like, will our work be better than our last? Will, like, other people like our work? We just feel a need to be perfect all the time. We feel a need for our work to look perfect, for it to feel perfect, for the perfect message to come across. But art is subjective. No matter what your intention is with this, no matter how it looks in that moment, not everyone's going to like it. You're not going to be everyone's cup of tea when it comes to art. You're not always going to look at, even just take visual arts. Even if you take a painting, not everyone's going to like that painting. You're going to be like, it's not really my cup of tea. But if you look at the next painting, you'll be like, that is for me. Something that people cannot take away from you, from your art, is the fact that it's your art, the fact that it's an embodiment of you, an embodiment of who you are, the embodiment of what you're going through at that time, an embodiment of just overall who you have become in that moment that you have created it, the emotion that you felt in that moment that you created it. With perfectionism, the things that fall under it, um social media and comparison, and also commercialism. No matter who you are, no matter what you do in life, you compare, right? I don't have the right fashion sense. I don't have the right shoes. My hair isn't this way, my body doesn't look this way. But then when it comes to the creative arts, if you already compare yourself due to social media, it's just 10 times more, because you see it not only with the way that you struggle with your mental health, you also see it within your art. You can tell that someone is trying to compare themselves and limiting themselves due to social media. I know that I've kind of went through this of, I'll go on social media and I'll like choreograph, and I'll spend hours on it, and I'll genuinely love how it looks at that time. And then I'll go on social media and I'll look at someone else's choreo. I'll be like, oh my, why don't my stuff look like that? Why don't it look like it? Because it's not meant to. It's not meant to, because that's not you. That's their choreo. Comparison will always, 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 always be your enemy. For me, comparison has always been a thing where, oh, my technique isn't this way. Oh, my choreography doesn't look that way. My musicality isn't like that. And it kind of makes me feel like my work isn't good enough to put out there because of this, then the third. Oh, look at them, their turns is boom, 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 boom. Meanwhile, I can only do a triple and I'm falling out of it. Oh, their leaps are so high, and my leaps, they're high sometimes, but it's not as consistent. And it's just this constant battle between your mind, where it's like, okay, I want to do this for myself, but it's like, is it going to be good enough? And the answer is yes. The reason it's good enough is because it's yours. And yes, their art is beautiful, but that does not make your art any less beautiful. A flower and a sunset are beautiful, but in two separate different ways. And you honestly have to live your life like that. You honestly have to create your art like that. Like, yes, your work is gonna look amazing, and yes, their work's gonna look amazing, but it's gonna look amazing in two different ways. Sometimes it's gonna look different in ways of, okay, their their artwork reflects a different level that I'm not at yet. They had to be a beginner at some point. Everyone does. Everyone has to be a beginner at some point. Never in your life think that you are going to enter something as this master. You know how boring life would be if you were just good at everything. It just be like this all the time. All the time, just like this. No highs, no lows, no euphorias, just like this all the time. That's boring. That's lame. That's lame. I can't, like, even when it comes to content creation, like when it comes to making videos like this, like I'll literally look at other people make it. I'll be like, oh, my voice isn't so sultry and things like that. No, I'm a big personality. I'm gonna cuss. I'm going to be like, bitch. So like, I need to stop comparing myself in all these different areas of life, and what I create. Procreation, honestly, comes with you just being yourself and showing up as yourself. Creating is showing up as yourself. Creation is showing up as yourself. That's all it is. Showing up as yourself in that moment. Whether you're sad, mad, happy, angry, whatever you feel like making at that time. It tells a story. It's not always going to be like the Little Red Riding Hood. It's not always going to be Pinocchio. It's just, it tells your story of how you felt in that moment or what you were going through in that moment. It don't always got to be big and grand. It could simply be like, I ate some pizza and that pizza was really good and it made me happy, so I decided to make this art. It don't gotta be big and grand. When it comes to our emotions, we often feel like we can only make our best work when we're in the top tier of moods. The work that you make when you're in this feeling of bliss is going to look different than when you're in a state of depression, because they're going to embody two different emotions and two different feelings. And it doesn't make one better or one worse. It just means that they're different. And you kind of have to stop holding yourself to that standard that, oh, I need this to be better than the last one. No, you just need to show up as yourself. Obviously, all your work's going to show points of growth, obviously, from your starting point to going on. Everyone has a starting point and it's always going to grow more and more and more. But when you have that mentality of this has to be better than this, that, and the third, now you're in a place of, okay, I don't know what to create. Okay, I just, you're feeling stagnant within your work, because now it's like you're over here, even like I said, comparing yourself to yourself can be detrimental. You're trying to compare a piece of work that you made years ago, different state of mind, different stage of life, to what you create now. That's going to be detrimental to you, because now it's like, okay, now I don't want to make the work anymore because I know it's not going to be better. What? Girl, sit down. That's when we come to, honestly, self-critic. Like, I was just having this conversation with a friend of mine that I actually dance with. We were just kind of talking, and they were expressing, kind of their thoughts on how they dance, and I was expressing my thoughts on the way that I dance. And I just kind of was like, honestly, we both came to this like conclusion of, oh yeah, like we both are our biggest critics. Like, it really comes down to it. Nobody else judges you the way that you judge you. I remember I was in dance class, and it's like the moment I mess up, I'd be like, okay, I'm done. Take me off. Take me off. I don't want to do this no more. I don't want to do this no more. I don't. But it's like, girl, You got to keep going. It's your first time learning something. You're not going to be like good at it right away. When I learned choreography, it's so hard for me to be like, oh, this is my first time learning it, so it's going to look different from when I practice it at home. Because I will literally, if I mess up in class, I'll literally take the piece home and I'll practice it and practice it and drill it and drill it and drill it. And be like, oh, I should have did that in class. It was your first time learning it. You learn a minute combo in 30 minutes and it got a whole bunch of geek, geek, ta, 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 ah, ah, da, da, ah, ooh, ooh. And you over here trying to, I should have, da, 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 da. It's going to look different because you drilled it. You didn't have the chance to drill it in that class. In that class, you're literally, okay, taught you, now do it in groups. It's not going to be perfect. It's not always gonna be, there's obviously gonna be times where you be like, okay, I got it, I can do my thing. But there's also gonna be times where it's like, this is really hard. This is really hard. Like, can we like go over it like a few more times before we do groups? Please. We are often our self critics and we hold ourselves to the standard of how we should be in that moment. When we don't live up to that, we often like, like kind of hit ourselves in the head, like, I should have this, I should have did that, I should have did like this, I should have did like that. But it's like you didn't know at the time. Give yourself grace. Cause at the end of the day, say this was an audition and you did the choreography, right? And this is for my performing arts people, right? Say you're at an audition for any of the performing arts. When practiced, anyone can remember choreography. When practiced, anyone can remember those lines. When practiced, anyone can sing those notes. What people are really, really looking for is you being you and showing up as yourself in that choreography, in that line, in the music you're singing, showing up as you and not commercializing it. And that brings me to the next point, commercialism. Something I really didn't explain with commercialism in this video that I really wish I did. With commercialism, it's whatever is consumable. Whatever is seen the most consumed is what's going to be put out there. So you're whipped into shape to be able to fit into consumerism, into this capitalist type of ideal, what makes the most money. And so what makes the most money is what they have seen has trended the most. So what you're being put into is what trends, not what is you, not what is different, but what they have seen trend in the past and what's the most popular. They're putting you in that box and you don't exactly get to be yourself. We feel the need to kind of box ourselves in to this, that, and a third because we want to look right for these industries. A lot of the time we get to this point where we just do exactly what we're told to do, like, and there, we don't add the touch of us in it. The best example I can explain commercialism as is when a music artist is freelancing and performing as themselves and then they get signed by an agency and next thing you know their music doesn't sound the same. It's just stuff you always see on the radio. Just people are no longer showing up as themselves because they no longer get a chance to. So when I say commercialism is a big problem in what we think about, we often commercialize our movements to what the choreographer is teaching or what they're telling you to sing or things like that, and you never add the touch of you that is needed. And that comes down to also with that commission and compensation. Like the arts is honestly such a misunderstood field, and one of the reasons is because of compensation and um just commissions and money. And people often be like set this pressure of, oh, okay, so you're not going to make a lot of money like you would if you were said doctor, right? Kind of feel this pressure of, okay, like now I need to get gigs, now I need to da da da. You're you're selling yourself out. You're falling short for yourself. And you're no longer showing up as yourself because now somebody wants to put a price on something. But the catch is you can't do what you love to do. You can't show up as yourself. You have to stay in this box that they put you in. And if you get out of that, now you owe them money. Now you're falling short for yourself so that you can make this money and this and the third. So I feel like that's a lot of something that a lot of creatives kind of fall victim to um within all the industries, is kind of falling short to themselves because they got put money on the table because there's this pressure to make a whole lot of money like you would if you were a doctor. If you don't make it, now what? It was all a waste. It's the fear of what if I don't make it, and now you're selling yourself short, and your all your moves are being dictated by these big money people. Okay, you got the money. Now you're unhappy. Now you don't like your work. Now, even when you want to make the work that you want to make, you can't because you have to run it by said spokesman. And that also leads into our last point of the video, self limitations. When you do what you love and you show up as yourself, the right opportunities will always present themselves. Just because you had to turn down one opportunity because it didn't suit you doesn't mean there won't be another opportunity coming next. That's just how it is. Like, you don't have to sell yourself out in order to get an opportunity. You're putting all this pressure on yourself and things like that. When all you have to do in this world, in this industry, as a creative, is be yourself. Being a creative means not putting yourself in a box. It means being you. The rules are be you. Do what works for you. I can't tell you how many, I can't even count on my hand because so many classes I have gone to. And a dance teacher is literally like, just do the choreography, but other than that, do you. Do what works for you. A creative means be you. Show up as yourself. Show up as your best self. And I promise you, when you show up as yourself, the right opportunities will come. The right people will come. Those partnerships will come. The collaborations will come. It all arrives when you arrive to yourself, when you embody yourself and stop listening to other people and letting them project what works for them and tell you what works for them works for you. Because y'all are two different people, two different individuals. Is 2024 almost over, y'all? It's too late in the game for people to not be showing up as themselves. You still have time. You definitely still have time. Time is not running out, but time has run out for you to show up as someone you're not. That should have been done. But you didn't know before, so I'm telling you now. That's over with. It's time to show up as you, be you, and that's it. But that's all for you today. And I'm gonna go now because I'm hungry and starving and I want to watch anime. Thank you.